Yo, what's good, guys? So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down the Franchise QB Podcast YouTube channel. So this is a YouTube channel. It's been out for like a few years now, at least from like my knowledge. They've been posting pretty consistently and they do a ton of volume. And these are also like huge videos, right? Like these are 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 20, 19, 29. Like they're putting a lot of their time and effort into making these videos. And I personally think that they're not getting the views that they deserve for the amount of quality and volume that they're putting into these videos. So I'm going to break down exactly what I would do as a YouTube strategist in order to help this channel succeed. So the first thing I want to check out when I first click into the channel is going to be the about section. So right here, this looks pretty like clean. I probably wouldn't change too much about this. This is a good outcome for the viewer, like buy your first franchise like a pro. I'd probably make it like how to buy your first franchise with like no experience, because like a pro sounds a little weird. Most people are starting with no experience. So I'd probably say that just to help it resonate with the viewer. Next is this link isn't a clickable link. I would remove it here. It's the same link right here, but it's put right here. So I'd actually like remove this and let it just be here. So let's get into the YouTube channel now. So the first video they have is the first podcast episode, which is episode 0, Franchise QB Podcast Trailer. So it sounds like it's just going to be a quick trailer about what this YouTube channel is going to be about. The next thing that I do see is a ton of shorts. Now, shorts are really good if you know how to execute them properly. You don't want to put like too much volume into anything that isn't working. Right here for these views, I think that the shorts are underperforming. The same with the videos. I'd probably stop doing the shorts unless they are constantly bringing in qualified candidates, because I think it's just a waste of time, and the way people like to get their education nowadays is just in long form videos. So I would focus more on the actual podcast edit. And I know what you're thinking, yeah, but we do the podcast and then we clip it up and we make the shorts, and the shorts get views, and then those views go back into the podcast. But looking at like the latest views, it doesn't really seem that way from an outside view, right? Like this is 8 days ago, only has 5 views. 1 day ago, 7 views, 30 views, 11 views, 18 views, 44 views. This channel is underperforming, at least by my standards, because of the amount of time that they're putting into recording, right? So personally, I think if you're going to have a YouTube channel where you're trying to teach people about the franchise consulting process, I don't think you should be doing that in a channel dedicated to just podcasting. I think people consume information in different ways. Some people like to read books. Some people like to watch a 30-second video. Some people like to watch 10-minute videos where they search in like Google search bar or the YouTube search bar, and they're like, how to buy a franchise. And then some people do like to sit down and watch podcast content. But here you're only targeting one type of person, right? Where they want to watch a podcast episode. And right now in 2026, that isn't really working too well for a lot of podcast people, right? And we can see it here that the channel is underperforming. So what I would recommend to do is to quit doing the podcast, quit doing the short. If you are going to do the podcast, do it at least like maybe once a month at most with one video, and then go all into making these 10 to 20 minute long videos that are searchable, and that if a viewer was to search up how to buy a franchise, the videos will show up. Right? So what I would do is I'd probably make a video like how to buy a franchise with no experience. Then the next video, how to buy a franchise with $20,000 down. The next video, we'll do a case study breakdown where we'll position it as he's a normal guy, but his boring franchise business makes him X amount a month. Right? So now that seems like a title people would actually click on. Like, how is he a normal guy, but a boring franchise business is making him this amount of money per month? Now that's interesting, and that'll probably get people to want to click on it. And it'll induce a curiosity gap to get people to want to click on it. Next thing I'd focus on after searchable titles would be thumbnails. Now, I do know that he's using the same thumbnail template, which is good in building like a good fan base over time, because as they start to see the thumbnails, they'll be like, oh, I really like this podcast. But the thumbnails aren't doing a good job at actually like making me want to click on it in the first place. So the episode number, it's too small. The names are too small. I can't even see their Twitter handle. handle or X handle, it doesn't tell me much about what me, the viewer, is going to learn if I click on this video. So right here, why this NFL coach quit the league to build a franchise empire. Like, it doesn't really tell me what I'm going to get out of this, right? From NASCAR to CEO Safeway driving franchise. Invest in and it doesn't even show me the full title because the title's too long. Sell your franchise resale like a pro. Again, it's not really telling me like what I'm going to learn from this as a viewer. It's not direct enough. So the main thing that I would do would just be change up the whole podcasting YouTube channel. Change it to a more direct educational style of content where you're just spewing information for 10 minutes about how to buy a franchise. And you'll start to get more qualified people coming in there. And then inside of the content, what you can do is you can start to pre-handle objections like, how would you buy if you don't have experience? How long does it usually take, right? And what if I only have $50,000 to put down, right? And then you start talking about funding and all this stuff, and you help meet people where they're at and what they're actually searching for. Because if we go into like YouTube right now and we search up how to buy a franchise, which I can argue is a good term, we'll see a ton of videos for how to buy a franchise, but they're all like pretty old, right? We have this video 11 months ago, we have this one 4 years ago, 1 year ago, 3 years ago, right? 5 years ago right here, and we can see that this search term in Google Trends is still getting searched, right? You have like a ton of traffic essentially going into this one search term, but nobody's really dominating it right now. So there's a huge opportunity in this market to make these short 10-minute videos that when people search up how to buy a franchise, your channel comes up. So that's basically everything that I would change as a YouTube strategist if I was to come into this YouTube channel and help bring them more qualified leads or candidates and actually help them to get more views. All right, peace.